5 rounds of the 2021 Coca-Cola Indy Elite Series are complete, with the most recent one in Pocono, Pennsylvania, a Catalyst 317 Triple Crown event. Tonight, though, the challenges extend far beyond 3 corners, 14 in fact, for some racing on the road. This is Belle, and we're going racing on the streets of Detroit. This is the Detroit Grand Prix for the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Indy Elite Series. Kyle Heyer alongside Finney and DeCuna for race number 6 of the season from a road course, street course combination that's been here since 1982. Originally started as a Formula One circuit, Finney, and it's been a wild couple decades. Racing on the road between the walls, between the curbs. It is going to be very, very tight and twisty tonight.
Yeah, it's nice to see this event's become essentially a hallmark. You know, while you mentioned it's supposed to be was made to host Formula One, it's become a hallmark event of the IndyCar calendar. It has not left since, even for sports car racing as well. But here with the IndyCars tonight, looking forward to seeing these guys flying here. These are the fastest cars that tackle the circuit, and boy, are they fast.
They are super, super fast. There's also more cars here than we can handle on the road course, so we're going to send a couple people home. Detroit, Michigan, home to 670,000 people. The first race here was a Formula One race back in 1982. And today's weather, a beautiful day for racing, clear skies, 74 degrees in the air, 110 down there on the racetrack. So it's going to be fast and high speed all night long. 43-lap race, relatively quick one as well, but qualifying is underway, and there's high stakes tonight because a handful of drivers are going home, Finian.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many of these guys are going to go home. I think it should be 2, but really who of which are going to be. And that means that, you know, when there's a chance of not going, you can have some guys that just don't want to qualify, want to start to the back. This time out, everyone's got to qualify because you don't want to be the one man that doesn't and ends up having to go home.
So Riley Thompson currently quickest here in qualifying as we've got 6.5 minutes remaining. Glad to be with you here tonight. If you're new to SimTV, make sure you drop a subscription or like. If you're watching on the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Facebook page, make sure you drop them a like as well. So you can join us for more racing. We've got Chicagoland coming up next week, followed by Richmond, and then our Indianapolis 500 on April 25th before we take a bit of a month off in May before a return to Road America on a little bit later in the season. A one-stop race tonight is a possibility, Finian, but you're probably going to make 2, looking at about a 21-lap minimum if you have to make that one-stop strategy. We'll see if that works. Red tires. We've got tire selections here tonight. Red tires are still the preferred tire, even with warm track temps. However, you're going to have to use both compounds tonight. Of course, there's the red, which is the option, and the white sidewall, which is the primary. And you can see the alternate in the red. The gray is the primary. You can see that on the timing and scoring here. A lot of drivers are running with the alternate tire. This is interesting to me, Finney, because you have to start on the tire that you qualify on.
Yeah, and so far, Brian Carey, Josh Klug, as he actually just goes around on the 199, has gone around. Ray Kingsbury and Dan Inch are the only drivers out on the prime tire. Everyone else on alternate, so interesting to see that call. I mean, I'm not too surprised with most drivers just deciding to start on the alternate. You know, you got the fastest tire at the beginning when you need to pass the most amount of drivers, arguably. So I think that's the kind of strategy most of the field is going for.
I'm just amazed at how tight it is at the top of the order, too. We've got 4 drivers within a second. That might sound like a pretty big gap, but this is a really, really tricky race to drive at. This is a very challenging road course with big, tall curbs and walls that are very, very close to the racing surface. Have a look here at, I believe it's turn number 6. On the left-hand side of the screen, the racing line takes you within an inch of that curb and that fence, so you do not want to find yourself that close to the wall. Also, noticing some other names we've seen in the past here. Here's Trevor Greenfield in the 36, ran with us at Pocono a couple weeks ago, right now in 8th. Good qualifying effort there. But Riley Thompson is still the quickest here in qualifying. Maybe he's the one to beat tonight at Detroit.
We have to see here with these guys having 3 laps to put time down. 10 minutes to do so, so see if anyone's going to be able to topple him. Adam Blocker, a notably fast driver in the 74 machine, trying to usurp him of that, is gone up to 33 thousandths of a second slower than Thompson. Not enough to topple him.
And there's Carlos Gomez, finds his way into the wall. You see the wing kind of snap off there. That's the other thing that we'll have to contend with tonight is the new damage model. There's Ray Kingsbury in the number 25. Currently 19th, which is not as high up as I think he would have liked to have been. And looking at where Ray Kingsbury was, he finished 7th at Pocono last round out, so he's coming off of some momentum. And looking at the point standings, Philip Kraus comes into the night leading by 1 point over Andreas Eick, who qualified in third. Eick has finished third in every round of the season, with the exception of I believe, Texas and Pocono. So the first 3 rounds of the year, Eick was third best. Lester Horschak in the 51 car runs in 14th. In the number 51. Then David Adams in 15th spot. He's still making his way around the racetrack. But on the outside looking in, Adam Crane, Osman Espedy, Andrew Wood, Philip Kraus, Charles Ante qualifying in. Here is your current points leader, up 5 spots after his win at Pocono last week. Across the line. 1:13.623 will put him third quick. Riley Thompson still on pole. Henry Bennett in the 007, making his way around. Currently a 14.5 is where he sits. Again, a 43-lap race. This is not a long one tonight by any stretch. Compared to Pocono, which was exceptionally long last week, this is, by comparison, a very short sprint. Gavin Smith in the number 2, working his way around the course, currently on the outside looking in. Austin Espedy would be the other one on the chopping block. Based on qualifying here, only 33 can start. Smith needs to go a little quicker than a 1:20.4, and so far it's not looking good.
You have to see here, he's on his second time lap. He's got 1 more available, and he should have enough time to complete it. So this is going to be the money lap if this wasn't already. It was a 1:19.3.
Oh, nope.
It's still not fast enough. Oh, it's going to hit the wall. That's going to be it for Gavin Smith.
Yeah, but he'll end his qualifying effort in the fence here at Detroit Belle Isle, so he will not make the race here tonight. Adam Crane sailing through turn number 13 and 14. He was down at the bottom of the order, now jumped up to 12th on that lap, and we'll see if he can improve it this time by across the line. 1:13.295, that puts him third quick. Nice run for Crane.
Yeah, we just saw Crane. He was duking out in GTEs at Sebring, so fairly large shift to go from a decent amount of downforce in the GTEs at Sebring, nice and bumpy. I guess the carryover is both these tracks for being fairly bumpy. But
yeah.
Big change in machinery with the open wheel and a lot of high downforce.
If Adam Crane isn't a favorite on your fantasy list, maybe he should have been, because he was the winner back at the Coca-Cola Grand Prix of Alabama back at Barber, our only road course race of the year so far. Crane won that pretty handily on a distinct one-stop strategy that I wouldn't be surprised to see them do that same thing again. I just realized that I was not giving Finian a feed. So there's your feed. You can see what's happening now. So working through the last little bits of qualifying here, Adam Crane going to try to improve on this. I don't think he can go much faster than a 1:13.3, but he might give it a go here. Across the line, will it be an improvement? It is an improvement, a 1:12.946. That's good enough for second. He goes up onto the front row, proves me wrong. What do I know? Not much, apparently. Adam Crane, second. Qualifying is complete. Riley Thompson will be your pole sitter here for your Detroit Grand Prix. And we'll head down to the racetrack for a 43-lap race here in just a moment. You're watching SimTV. Our next round will be Chicagoland for the SimTV 225 next Sunday. And we head down to the racetrack now to grid up the field. We'll head down there and we'll go over our keys to the race here, Finian. Let's start off with finish the race. It might sound simple, but it's hard to finish here. Keep yourself out of the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, the tight confines of this track. I would say, between this and Long Beach, the 2 street circuits we have on the iRacing service, this is definitely a lot harder just due to the walls being a lot closer, and especially the racing lines too being a lot closer to the wall. While talking about tire choice for these drivers, already seeing a mixed strategy for what these guys are going to start on. If you're only going to make one stop or plan on making one stop, you're gonna have to make it count and hope that you made the right tire choice, especially considering you got a little bit different towards the start of this race.
To finish first, you must first finish. That's what finish the race means. You got to pick the right tires, and you got to find your way through that field. If you didn't qualify in the top 10, you've got cars to pass, and boy, oh boy, is it hard to do here. Where do you make a pass around this 14-turn circuit?
Not many. I mean, clearly the biggest passing opportunity is heading down to turn 3, that nice long straightaway. Even turn 1, 2 is a decent run down. The rest of the track is going to be more or less follow the leader. Unless you want to get a little bit brave in some of the other corners. You got to be a little bit careful. You don't get too brave and end up putting yourself in the wall.
I'm looking at a couple passing opportunities. You mentioned turn number 3. That's what that corner looks like. Then the run down to turn number 7. This is also pretty decent. This tightens up massively on corner exit before the run to turn 8. Here is very single file. If you're not single file here, you're going to crash. Then turn 11. This is the real pinch point here on the run down to turn 12. You can make a pass down here if you're really gutsy and brave. I don't recommend that you give that a try, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Someone's gonna try it. I imagine there's too many cars and quite a few guys further on back, so someone's gonna get desperate at some point.
So 33 drivers gridding up to go racing for 43 laps. If we go green from start to finish, this race will only take us 53 minutes from flag to flag, one of the shortest races of the season. But there is a potential for yellow flags should the field get all clogged up, and there is a potential for that for sure. We've seen that at Barber in the past. We could see it again here today. Up in front, we mentioned Adam Crane in the final moments of qualifying jumping up to share the front row. But alongside him, it's Riley Thompson in the number 56, the youngster who came into this season with so much hope to improve on his skills and comes into the night winless. Demerits 1-3, the 5, Crane and Kraus, the other 2 winners this season. Time to go racing in Detroit. Detroit Grand Prix. Here we go. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Belle Isle. Already streaming through turns 1 and 2. So far, so good. Car on a line. That's Crane. Having a look here at Riley Thompson on the brakes. A bit of a stack up here to turn 3. Everyone being very cautious and careful. So far, so good.
And flying now through turns 4 and turn number 5 as well. Most people getting single file out. Got to find your groove quickly and get yourself in a rhythm so you can now start finally maybe plan an attack as you try to work your way through the field.
So far, so good. Carlos Gomez has reset back to the pit, so he had an issue earlier. There's Riley Thompson out up front, though, into turn 7 for the first time. Track position is king. You'll notice the red sidewall on the tire. Looking at the left-hand side of the screen, almost everybody chose the alternate tire as the first tire to be on. And now remember that you have to run one set of each of the alternates and the primary. Now, if you run a 2-stop strategy, you split this race into 3 segments. Of course, you take the alternate twice. But if you're splitting up into a 1-stop strategy, you got to run those primaries for much longer.
Yeah, and already looking at the first driver, the highest driver on primaries is Greenville in the 36 car all the way back in 12th. And he's going to potentially fall prey to the guys in behind if he can't get his tires warmed up enough. That's a big thing. You have to turn on those primaries as quick as possible because the alternates, they're quick and ready and fast. So it's a big trouble. He's got Christopher Demerit too. Quick driver, and even Andrew Wood in behind very quickly as you see pass up in front, side by side through turn 3.
That's Philip Kraus on the outside of Adam Blocker through turn 4. That got really tight, almost a touch with the wall. Kraus defending. Nicely done here, and he will hang on to the spot for now, but Blocker wants by, and I don't think he's done fighting this just yet.
And here you see these guys are going to get aggressive with the push to pass early on. Another 2 of these guys have available 10 uses for these drivers. I imagine they're going to be using it down this straight and down the straightaway heading towards turn 1. Looks like Blocker decided not to use it.
Yeah, again, basically that is a momentary power surge that you get just 10 times, which means you can use it basically once every 4 laps if you're rationing it that way. But you might want to use it when you're really close or need to recover or defend from a pass. And that's one thing people don't necessarily think about all the time, is that push to pass is not necessarily push to pass. It's push to defend or push to for power. And you can use it in a defensive way. And it's not something you see a lot, but it certainly could help you and save you from losing a spot.
No, it's definitely saved me in quite a few occasions, just using it to keep the guy in behind, especially when he's got a little bit of slipstream, which is something these guys aren't going to get a whole lot of. The slipstream here, the straightaway's not being quite long enough.
Here's Brian Carey on Charles Ante into turn 1. Jumps the curb there. Got to be careful with these curbs around this racetrack, and it looks like Carey will get that spot from Charles Ante. Up front, gap is already growing for Riley Thompson. Adam Crane running in second, but it's all going to come down to strategy, I think, with the race length the way it is. But there is potential that you can make it on 1 stop if you save right from the drop of the green flag. Now, looking back at Adam Crane and his teammate back at Barber, they did the 1-stop strategy and it worked. We'll see if it can work this time through. Been told that the bumps in the middle of turn 2 and the exit of turn 6 are the real challenges with this car and what they had to design the setups around.
Yeah, not surprising. Some really nasty ones coming out, especially also that dip as the corner they just came out of. It's a very nasty dip. You start flooring it. Can easily loop the car around, but these guys have quite a bit of skill, and I'm sure they've been used to it and anticipating a lot of it. So you got to be careful and but you got to know this track like the back of your hand in a lot of places, especially due to the amount of blind corners.
Henry Bennett hasn't really gone anywhere yet. Started 5th, running 5th. He's trying to chase down Adam Blocker in the 74 up ahead, and behind him Matt Pavelski in the 75, who had a really strong run at Pocono.
Oh, just saw someone go off. I think Kraus almost went flying off into the barrier. Ooh, and some slight contact with Bennett. It looks like, I thought for a second he hit his wheel, but just some slight contact.
Now let's go back and have a look at how Kraus found himself in that position. He might have just overcooked it a little bit on corner entry. Just got in too hot, locked up the right front. Came to a stop and rejoined, just tagged the side of Bennett, but no damage to either of those two cars. That's the risk you run. As soon as you lock up, you don't really have a choice to lock up and miss the corner. You just have to go straight. I mean, there's really no recovering from that. You just have to kind of accept that you've lost a position or 3. And there's Brian Carey, A.J. Burton for 21st. Looking back at the tire for Greenfield, you know, this is one of those racetracks, Finney, where I don't think the tire is going to make an enormous difference. And the reason why is because track position is so important that if you're on the primary tire and in front of somebody, the aero wash and the distraction of having a car in front of you is going to probably cancel out the minute differences between the tire compounds. So I'm not really sure that there's a huge advantage or disadvantage to being on one tire or another unless you were straight up qualifying, which is why I think everyone chose the alternate during qualifying when they had clear racetrack.
And also, too, of note in the build that just came out recently for iRacing, the primary tires did get an update where they got more grip, so they are more viable of an option if they weren't before. Really just matters just having more grip for these guys to work with.
I mean, I think at other road courses, I think that difference would be more apparent. I just think with the struggle of aero wash here, or making any passes in general, that would be a struggle. Look at Andrew Wood, lost control and locked him up. Almost got run into by the 144, Kristen Merritt, who, remember, he has won 3 of the 5 races that we've had this season and won all 3 of the first couple races. But thinking back to Barber, that's where, or I should correct myself, thinking back to, I guess it was Barber. Barber and Pocono are the only races that he has not won, and those are the most road coursey of the group. I think Christopher's going to struggle here, and given his championship run, I would say that this is the weakness that this team has to work on for him.
Also was looking just up ahead at David Adams, who's a few spots ahead. He was all over the back of Jason Brophy, trying to look to make a pass. Had to back off for the last few corners, though.
Up ahead. Andrew Wood's going to hit pit lane early. This could be a first pit stop of the day for him to maybe switch onto the primary tire and get that out of the way. And the car will go up on jack stands, and we'll see if it will be replaced with those primary tires or if he'll stay on the alternates. He will stay on the alternates for now.
Yeah, he had a bit of a slide into turn 3 and was losing quite a bit of pace. I think that might have been what prompted him to come on down.
Yeah, didn't get any damage out of that, though, so a little bit surprised that he took the effort to go to pit lane. Tanner Watkins, bit of a slip, will let Tony Showen on by in 31. And up in front, Riley Thompson's lead is starting to dwindle. Adam Crane's running him down.
Yeah, big thing is him overcoming the aero wash in behind. Again, that's the whole point of the push to pass, to give you that option, of which Adam Crane, he has 8 uses left. Riley has not even touched the button yet.
Yeah, so Riley, again, using the advantage of being out front to his advantage. Here, up Christopher a little bit slow. And drops in behind Alexander Ball. Was there an issue maybe for Christopher? Whoa, he was right. He definitely run backwards.
Yeah, it's an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
And there was another car there. I think that was the 48 car potentially. Let's see how he found himself in that situation.
That's overcooked it in the corner, too much speed. Around it went. And then lost a heaping amount of spots as well.
Did a good job getting back into this open area on the inside of the corner, which I'm glad that it exists. And the traffic behind him trying to get around, but he will also hit pit lane. A.J. Burton is around in turn 1.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of the guys that are starting to slide, spin on the tires, just figuring might as well come on down. He already kind of burned up the tire a little bit.
Yeah, he just also overcooked it, didn't have enough rear downforce in the setup, and spun it around backwards and almost got it beached up there on the curb. That's another thing. It's really easy to get these cars stuck. up on top of the curbs if you're not careful where you're putting them. Marshall Stanley and Matt Holliba, this is for 14th.
And Holliba on the outside, looking maybe to do an over-under. Can't quite get back on the power enough, so Stanley take that spot away.
The car that we saw a little while ago was Lester Rorschach in the 51, I believe, was the car that was... No, it was Carlos Gomez, rather, in the 48. That was to the inside. Rorschach started this race in 18th. He's picked up 2 spots and is a little quicker than the drivers in front of him. It's hard to make a pass here. Car darts off the pit lane. That was Brian Carey. He scared me for a second. I thought he was going to hit the wall, but decided not to. And here's Jason Brophy on Andrew Kinsella.
Yeah, still going to be side by side. There is Adams in behind as well, sitting idly, looking to maybe pick a lane here on one of these two, and can't quite as Kinsella gets through past Brophy.
And Christopher Demerit approaching this. I heard someone scrape the fence with that right front tire, getting a little too close to it, perhaps. And Demerit closing in massively in the braking zone, but then where do you go? There's 4 drivers in front of you. And even if you're faster, I'm just not really sure that there's a lot you can do.
No, there really isn't. A lot of this is going to be just looking after tires, especially stuck in behind, because you're going to be relying more on the tires the less aero you have, so you have to be careful not to abuse them and treat them nicely.
Tanner Watkins a little bit slow there, already a lap down. So a handful of drivers have already come and made their pit stops already, or at least one of their pit stops. Andrew Wood, the first of those drivers, running 23rd. Everyone from 23rd on down has made a stop so far. A handful of them have made the switch to the alternate tire compound, or vice versa. Christopher being one of those. Matt Pavelski feeling some pressure from Philip Kraus, who had that moment a couple laps ago. It seems like he's getting his car nodded in the right direction here.
He's working it through the first sector of the track, left, right, left again. Flying down the straightaway now.
On the run down to turn number 7. On the brakes, Andreas Eich following. I don't think the strengths for Andreas Eich are on these road courses, but if he can just salvage them, again, he comes into the night down 1 point in the standings. So he's awful close to maintaining the points lead, even with a less than stellar run at Barber, and likely a similar situation here tonight, even though he's already running inside the top 10, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Brophy in the 88 runs 9th, and that's where he started tonight.
A very consistent day for most of the people, most of the drivers, because again, it's a really tough, passing's pretty tough. Most of the drivers have really only gained or lost +2, -2 from the start of the race. Again, this is really a matter of being consistent, and I think really, again, if you can't pass them on track, you're going to pass them in the pits. And I think, again, the strategy, overall strategy, we're seeing a lot of the guys trying to deploy early on is really where a lot of the movement is going to happen.
Definitely a stack up forming behind Andrew Kinsella here. And it's Brophy, Adams, and Trevor Greenfield in the background. A little bit of wall contact there as well for Kinsella. That could throw him off just a touch, but so far isn't willing to join. Christopher, big damage on the 13 car. He and Tony Schowen.
From bad to worse for Stouffer, already had that loop.
Let's see if we can find what happened to Stouffer's car. Was still on pit lane at this point. I'll bet you he's going to catch this wall at the exit of the corner here. Yep, understeers. Oh, man. That's grinding to a halt there. Then Tony Schowen. I'll bet you a very similar story, but in a different part of the racetrack.
Yep, pretty much.
Just overcooks it here, and...
Yeah, way off the corner and into the tire barriers hard.
Yep. And that car will grind to a halt. Brake rotor still glowing, and that's the attrition level of this racetrack. It will bite you if you're not being very careful. Whoa, there's a big crash, huge crash, car upside down, massive
I'm hearing
pileup.
Calls for a yellow from Matt Hall, but I think that was why, and it looks like they're going to clear the track before any need arises.
Wow, that was a big, big crash. Rorschach sits in the middle of the racetrack there, and that will finally reset, but what a mess. And the car in the middle of all that, I believe, was that Holliba.
Yeah, he was the one calling on the radio, begging for a caution, because I think he knew this was going to be a big crash. 1, 2, 3 cars involved.
4 cars.
4. Oh. massive bump. This is what we're talking about, the blind corners of this track. You come flying out of the corner, not exactly sure what to expect.
That was John Downing in the 20 that came into this. Man, this gets pile driven. Holy cow. And then the 20 car unsighted, right on board with him. Just comes around the corner, sees the smoke cloud.
You hear puff of smoke, and there's a bunch of cars.
Oh, wow, what a mess. And that was 3 or 4 cars all involved right there. Rorschach, the other. But that is unfortunate. That'll be the end of the day for a handful of some of our drivers in the top half of the field. Back up front, Riley Thompson continues to lap with Adam Crane, 1.4 seconds back. Andrew Wood now feeling pressure from Brian Carey. This is for 16.
Yeah, and from the 33 we started, we're already down to only 22 running around on the track, so the third of the field, which is not surprising. You're expecting a decent amount of attrition. This is kind of how Detroit is.
Andrew Kinsella also crashed. That's big news, considering how good of a season he was having. And let's go back and see.
We saw him kind of having a train of cars in behind, and that was one of the drivers in that train.
Demerit also crashed. And this was, oh, man.
Oh, it was separate.
Totally separate. And that was one of our championship front runners. Think back to Barber. He got crashed there. And same thing here. Car steps out, slams the barrier, and now one of our points front runners is out of the race.
And even for Kinsella to happen, I think, down in turn 7 or 8, his car has stepped out in very similar fashion to Demerit as well, and just went flying into the wall.
Man, that is absolutely brutal. This is just such a frustrating night. We're losing cars left and right here. Josh Clogg is on pit lane. Oh, no, he's crashed too. I thought this was going to be for a pit stop, but nope.
That's a pit stop, but
just ripped the whole right front of the car off, and wow.
Oh, and the wall rejected him like that.
Yep.
Around he went.
Yep. Well, down even more cars now as Riley Thompson makes his way around, and again, one of our keys to the race. First one was finish the race.
Yeah. That's something to be expected. This is just one of those tracks where even if you make it to the end, you'll have a decent finish.
Adam Blocker starting to put some pressure on Adam Crane for now. The other thing that I worry about racing on a track like this is as soon as you start applying pressure to somebody or you start to get pressure, the chance for a mistake balloons. And you have to be really conscious to not make it a bigger deal than it is. Andrew Wood is off in turn 3 again. He struggled with this corner and now sort of stuck.
All right, he's going to have to do a little 7-point turn. There he goes.
Just get out of that situation and get back rolling again. Just a lockup that prompted it. Here come the race leaders.
Yeah, we're going to put him a lap down. It's not been a good race for Andrew Wood.
It's been a good race for like 3 people. So
yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't feel too bad. From 19th on down, we have drivers completely out, with the exception of Tanner Watkins, who rolls in 20th, and Carlos Gomez, who rolls in 25th. Everybody else from 19th on down is completely out of this race and crashed. So if I had to guess, this might be the last time this track ends up on the schedule. Pavelski and Kraus trading spots for 5th. I don't think they're going to contest it.
Yeah, unless we want to be down to 18.
I don't. It's just so hard to race here.
It is. It's a really tough track, and I mean, honestly, to give credit, I've seen more cars wrecked here with this field size. These guys have done a really solid job.
This just makes you really appreciate the fact that they actually race on this track in the real world and don't crash 30 cars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing in itself. Here's Charles Ante and Brian Carey. This is for 12th spot.
Really getting close. You hear the sound effect of him touching the wall, but it's going to give him enough of a run here. Going to see side by side down the straight. Who's going to be braver on the brakes?
And it will be Brian Carey by a significant margin. He will go in and make the corner and take 12th spot away. And Matt Pavelski feeling some pressure from Andreas Ike, who I mentioned wasn't necessarily looking forward to the road courses. Quietly finished 3rd in the first 3 rounds of the season and has since started to drop off that consistency. But he is a dangerous driver because he's not going to go out there and straight up win everything, Finian, but he's going to run 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th all season long. And that is a championship run in a series like this where you just don't make any mistakes.
Exactly, considering how many championship runners we just seen crash out. I mean, it really helps to just be extremely consistent in a lot of cases, and it's exactly doing what it needs to get done. Looking at trying to get Pavelski as he has a bit of a lockup.
Yep. That's such a tight corner there. Look at Tanner Watkins. He's just literally just rolling around the racetrack at 10 miles an hour, just trying to avoid crashing. So far, it's working. He's up to 19th. They started this race down to 30 seconds. So, again, all you got to do is finish the race, and he's doing just that.
Slow and steady will finish.
That's for sure.
Not well, but we'll finish.
Riley Thompson, his lead is beginning to shrink now, 0.8 of a second. Adam Blocker right behind. And David Adams on pit lane. Thank goodness it's just a normal pit stop.
It's not early for him, so he's definitely committed to making one more stop before the end. He's going to actually switch to the prime tire now.
Yes, so he'll put the primary on and roll back out on the racetrack. There's Pavelski and Andreas Ike still separated by 0.7, but back for second. Adam Blocker's pressure on Crane is increasing.
Blocker's still yet to use any pushback, so at old time uses here. He's going to be pretty close on this occasion. May want to fancy using it. Oh, car on the wall.
That's Thompson. It's the race leader. He's crashed.
He's not. He's a little probably shaken up. I think I see some slight damage to the wing. We'll pull it down to pit road. He got away with murder there. It almost looked like he was out.
Just got in too hot. And that's a pretty heavy hit there.
Yeah, that suspension's definitely messed up, so he's going to be dealing with a messed up car. We'll see if he's going to be able to get back out there.
Yeah, he's into the box now from the race lead. This is not the time that he wanted necessarily to pit, because I think he might have been on a one-stop strategy. That will turn the lead over to Adam Crane and Adam Blocker.
And Crane's not going to have anyone to kind of get a toe off of. He's kind of at the mercy now of Adam Blocker in behind. And curious to see if Blocker's going to force the issue even more now that Thompson's out.
Thompson is spending a long time here in pit lane, and the question now becomes, is that car going to return to the racetrack? Certainly hope it will. He's still in the car. Is he in the car? I can't tell. Yes.
He is, yes. I think he's just waiting to get, he might have required for that suspension.
That's heartbreaking for how strong he was at the beginning. Crane and Blocker, though, nose to tail here. Lap 18.
Thompson now finally coming out of the pits will be one lap down.
Philip Kraus hits pit road with all the parts and pieces still attached to that car, so he will roll on in from 6th.
This is always funny. Just you see the pit road counter, and you just come and says like, oh, they're actually rolling down pit road.
Rolling onto pit lane on a rollback isn't necessarily a pit stop, and that makes me nervous. Again, the attrition rate we knew would be high. I just didn't think it would be this high this early.
Yeah, we still got over that though.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. Marshall Stanley, Flynn Lazier on pit lane. Lazier leaving. Marshall Stanley in, switching to, it looks like, the prime tire. And Philip Kraus is in and out. He's done.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
He was running inside the top 5 and whoop, loose on the exit at turn 2 and hit the fence.
Yeah, that's a classic one coming out of pit road. Many times in practice I've done the same exact thing. Get on the throttle, car feels fine, you get over that little crest and car breaks loose and into the hole hard.
Man, another one of our, this is the championship leader, by the way.
Yeah. How quickly it can go away.
Very. That leaves only a handful of drivers left. We started this race with 33. We're down to
Henry Bennett,
on the lead lap.
Sorry to cut you off. We got Henry Bennett, Andreas Ike, and Matt Pavelski down on pit lane servicing their cars. At least the top 2 still out there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Trevor Greenfield, Brian Carey right now running nose to tail. Both of these guys on the alternate tire. David Adams is the highest runner on the prime tire. and has only made one stop, so he's going to get another stop a little bit later today to switch back to the alternates for the end.
Yeah, notably Henry Bennett and company, when they came in, they all came back out on the alternate tire. So it looks like they're gonna, when they come back in to fill up on fuel, just go in on the primary tires, run 5 laps, and call it a day.
Charles Ante in the pit box, running 12th right now, having a really solid night after starting in 29th. He has avoided a lot of the attrition so far. I think I've cursed him for the rest of the night as well, so we'll check back in to see that car upside down in 5 laps.
Sorry, here Adam Crane, he's clutching the car and trying to make it back to pit road. I think he was just out on fuel.
Brian Carey just caught a piece of the wall, and you mentioned Adam Crane clutching in. Looks like he's not going to make it to do the one-stop strategy, and we'll have to make a 2-stopper.
We'll see Adam Block still out there on the track. I think might have to come in if the rest of the field's anything to go off of.
Again, what I've heard is that the engine maps are now a much more significant difference.
Yep.
So it sounds like you can play with the engine maps here a little bit and save some fuel, but you would have thought that Crane would have been doing that to do exactly what they did at Barber earlier in the year and win the race on a one-stopper.
Yeah, and also big thing too, if you want to go for fuel, you do not use the push to pass. I mean, you only had 2 uses, but you're still going to burn up quite a bit. That extra horsepower has to use something.
Burn more dinosaurs. It's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and for these guys with the fuel map, so you got 8 maps available for you. 1 through 5 is really where you go from full power to reduced power. 6 and 7 are different maps for full throttle, and 8 is what he's under caution. Blocker gonna go another lap, so I think he's definitely manipulating the fuel map to carry it this far.
Yeah, if he can make it around 1 more lap, he's made it to halfway. So I think if as long as he isn't going to run out of fuel on this lap, he'll be good to go. Trevor Greenfield, Brian Carey still fighting for 7th. It's a pretty frantic battle back here for P7. Oh, the 79 was really hot into the corner. Saw the rear end kind of step out on entry. Again, Carey is on the alternate, and so is Greenfield. But Greenfield started on the soft, or I should say the prime tire, and he's already made a switch. Brian Carey, I believe, has also done that same strategy. Adam Crane comes out in 3rd behind Henry Bennett. The only driver to not make a pit stop so far is Adam Blocker. We'd expect to see him this time by.
Unless he's really going to flex in everyone and go another lap.
I just don't know if that's possible.
No, I don't think so, and I think even for this this next one, he's going to have to go a little bit further.
Here he comes.
Which is definitely within the realm of possibility. We'll have time to give it up due to having to make one last stop. So this is really falling into Blocker's favor. He just has to make sure not to make a mistake like we saw there. A little bit of a kiss with the wall.
Yeah, Brian Carey's done that twice in the last 2 laps. He's got to stop hitting that fence. It's not faster to... You can use more racetrack, but as soon as you start getting butted up against that concrete, it's not really advantageous to go any further left there. That's why they put the fence there. They don't want that to be advantageous. Alexander Ball is in pit lane. He's been done for about 4 laps now. This car pretty much destroyed. Carlos Gomez in the 48. He's currently running in 18th spot after starting in 22nd. Also sort of on the if we survive, we'll make it strategy.
And after the field cycle out, after one set of pit stops, it's Adam Blocker, Bennett, Crane. Crane lost at 2nd place due to him being very short on gas and was limping it back to pit lane. So he's lost a position to Henry Bennett.
Oh, man, Greenfield pancaked the wall at the exit at turn 2. Here comes Carey with a run for 7th. Around the outside. Oh, so close to the fence, but Brian Carey moves into position and takes it away from Greenfield.
Carey really doesn't care about the wall, does he? He seems to be very fearless.
Yeah, he's
almost to a fault.
Well, this time he misses the fence on the entry to turn 6, which is a pleasant change of racing line. So out up front, Adam Blocker retakes the race lead. He leads Henry Bennett by 12.5 seconds. Adam Crane, running in 3rd place right now, is behind Bennett. You see Matt Pavelski, Andreas Eichel in this shot as well. Blocker has also elected for the prime tire on this run.
That's what he pretty much had to.
Now Crane hits pit lane, and this is his 2nd stop of the day here. And this is to put himself right back on, I guess he'll take the primaries all the way to the end from this point?
I guess so. I'm guessing that's what he's going to be looking at doing. I think pretty much has to.
He just came to pit lane, I thought, a couple laps ago, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he figured just run a little bit, though, a bit he needed to make it to the end. I think he should be able to comfortably make it to the end on, I mean, actually, I shouldn't say comfortably. Still got 20-ish laps to go, so it's going to be a little tight.
He's been in the box for a long time, 18, 19 seconds.
Not sure what's wrong.
Yeah, 25. This is definitely an abnormally long stop for the 34. And we'll check back in with him in a little bit, but I think there's a problem with that car. Could be a penalty as well. That might be what it was.
That finally is away.
Could have been a stop and hold penalty for something. Because I don't think he took service. He didn't switch tires or anything.
Well, yeah, he didn't. I mean, he is going to have to come back again then. If he
Right.
take
Well,
service.
that's my point. Is I think he's been on the red tire the whole race, so he has to switch on to the primaries at some point, and that was not allowed there. I think that was a penalty serving for him.
It was, yeah. He never went up on the jack, so interesting stuff.
With a driver that thought coming into the day he would be the one to beat based on the results from Barber a couple weeks ago.
And Riley Thompson is actually ahead of Adam Crane. Just to give you an idea of all the stuff we've gone through.
I'm surprised because Riley Thompson sat in pit lane for a long time, fixing that damage he got at the exit at turn 12. And now for second place, Pavelski putting pressure on Henry Bennett.
So he's going to force the issue more. Pavelski coming out of the corner and down the stretch. Not jumping on the button to close the gap. Also, Andreas Seik too, closing in from behind.
Yeah, Andreas Seik definitely closing that gap there. Andrew Wood on pit lane, switching on to primary tires, and off he will roll.
And we talked about him struggling. I mean, he was down at, I think, close to 26th, 25th, and he's up into 14th now.
And Brian Carey, David Adams trading spots. Not really much of a fight there. Adams moved on over and let him go. So with 18 laps to go next time by, Adam Blocker has put himself in position to win this thing. He's good to the end here. I mean, he switched onto the black tire, and there's no reason why he couldn't just drive all the way to the end of this race. Someone would have to run him down, and given it's a 13-second gap back to Bennett, I think Blocker is in the best spot of anybody.
Yeah, I mean, considering, again, everyone else in behind him has to make a second stop. You know, he can let Bennett catch him, get 20, 25 seconds up ahead, and then let them pit, and then he'll still be out in front. This is just to give you an idea how much of a lead he has over the rest of the field by not having to pit one more time. It's really now just a matter of him making it to the end. I'm sure he's backed off the pace and is not trying to force the issue here, running a respectable pace.
He's got time.
The end.
He's got time to burn. I mean, he's got 12 seconds that he can just relax and breathe. And Andrew Wood, right out of the pits, is now back into it with terminal crash damage.
Just so you saw him come back out, was having a decent day, and misjudged it.
Yeah, but again, same thing we've been seeing all day long. I can guarantee you that this will not be a popular stop for the Elite Series.
No. Yeah, and again, this is just the track is so tight in a lot of places, and you know, Long Beach, with both of these being street courses, Long Beach, I would argue, is a lot more open in most of its corners. I mean, the big trouble spots are the fountain and the hairpin. Those are the tightest parts. The rest of it is fairly open by comparison.
So Andrew Wood is out. Brian Carey is on pit lane, receiving service, going back on the alternate tire compound as Matt Pavelski and Henry Bennett. Looks like they've traded positions, and now Andreas Seik is here to get by the 007.
Again for Ike, looking to, you can see me jumping on the pusher pads here, trying to get a run to Henry Bennett. It's going to be a little bit tough if he can get there in time.
Ray Kingsbury on and off of pit lane. Kingsbury is switched to the alternate as well. That was his second stop of the day, so he's good to the end.
And Kingsbury, too, has come from 23rd up into 12th, was running as high as 8th before he just came in.
So 17 laps to go, 27 complete here from Detroit Belle Isle. for the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Indy Elite Series round number 6. Started the night with 33 cars, and everybody from 19th on back is terminally damaged. Andrew Wood is out in 16th. He will get past here in a couple moments. But we only have 15 drivers remaining that are rolling on the racetrack without massive damage, and that's under half the field remaining at this point.
Yeah, it's been very, I guess attrition field is putting it lightly at this point, losing half the field.
Oh, Henry Bennett also got in the fence at the exit of the corner. Just a little bit of a scrape. Matt Pavelski on pit road.
Actually, some more to that story. Pavelski he was trying to avoid Pavelski. That's how he almost got into the wall.
Oh, let's go back and see. Right on board with the 007. Oh, but did Pavelski actually crash? Oh, he did.
Yeah.
out of second place.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, you know, is it worth pushing at this point?
Yeah, just overcorrected and nose straight into the barrier. And that was our second place. Wow, they split him 3 wide. And Pavelski out of second is crashed. So 14 drivers left on this racetrack. There goes Bennett on by the camera.
And Andreas Ike in second place. And Andreas Ike was second to Kraus coming in, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. Yes, Philip Kraus 1 point over Ike. So Ike is actually going to likely walk out of here. Well, he will walk out of here as the points leader. Just checking on where Adam Blocker is in the standings. Blocker comes into the night down the order a little bit, 9th because of a couple missed rounds. So Andreas Ike will probably leave here if he finishes right here in the points lead, and that's cannot be understated. Flynn Lazier on pit lane, back on the Reds and back out on the racetrack. Now 15 laps to go, about 18 minutes of racing remaining. Now Blocker's just got to negotiate lap traffic. My concern for the race lead is that when you're lapping traffic, we've seen what happens when you don't have a very good sight line through corners. Anybody could be stopped up the road, and Blocker could just run into him at any moment. So there's really no declaring anybody anywhere until they cross the checkers.
Yeah, I think for him, it's just a matter of just keep that relative box open and checking it periodically, especially when we're heading into a complex of corners, just to kind of keep tabs of where everyone is and just be ready in case anyone is stuck in the middle of the track.
Here's a driver that has had a quiet night, Ray Kingsbury in the number 25. Started back in 23rd and has kept all the parts and pieces attached to that race car this evening and runs 11th, just outside the top 10. I'd say this would be a pretty solid day for him. Coming off of a 7th, as I mentioned, at Pocono. Trevor Greenfield on pit lane. It looks like he is receiving service back on the alternates.
He's been there for a little while.
And now slowly rolling out of the box.
Might have had to fix the wing to 14 seconds.
Yeah. Some minor repairs perhaps. There goes Adam Crane, who we saw earlier with the penalty. He's rejoined back in 7th. Riley Thompson has ended up a little farther down the order. Didn't see how these guys switched spots again, but he's only been on pit lane once, so it wasn't another accident.
Yeah, I think for Crane, it's really between both of them. I think it's been the fact that Thompson does still have some damage. I don't think he's been able to completely fix that suspension, but Crane, actually, they say that, but Riley's been running some pretty decent laps.
Yeah, 1:15.0 last time by was actually faster than the race leader. I know he was dealing with some traffic. In the background, whoop, that's Ray Kingsbury. Trying to get by Charles Ante. That was a little dicey.
He's all over him heading to these next few corners.
That's an understatement as we roll through turn 6. This is for position. This is for 10th. Oop, just caught the wall at the exit of the corner. This is for 10th. So Ante's not going to roll over and let him by.
On the push pass for Kingsbury, going to use his advantage up the inside. Try to have a look. Ante going to cut him off.
That just turned in. I don't think Kingsbury was far enough alongside to make that stick. Down a gear. Nice late apex here to get a run out of the straightaway, but that corner is so much of a pinch point that you can't really even build a run leaving that corner. It's just hard to do, and then here it always feels slower than you want it to be.
You feel like with an Indy car that you can just floor it through that corner, but you have just enough of a lift early on to carry, and then finally get back on the power.
Trevor Greenfield back on pit lane, and this time with a crashed race car.
Ugh.
This happened a little while. He actually limped it back. This was a long time ago in the lap, right here. Understeer. Wow, that car just did not turn.
Yeah, even the corner before he missed the apex as well, and then in the second corner, yeah, just didn't make it on through.
Man, that is brutal. Greenfield was having such a good run, relatively new to the series. I believe his first start was back at Pocono a couple weeks ago. But his night will be likely over and done for the day. Ante and Kingsbury still have not traded spots just yet. Battle for ninth. Marshall Stanley coming in. Can't tell if he's got all the parts and pieces on that car or if he, nope, he's got them. We're good. Coming in for his second stop of the day. Every time, it's like every time I see a car hit pit lane, you just have to assume that they're crashed.
That's been the trend for most of this race.
Can't blame me, right? Stanley in the box and is now left it again. Will rejoin the racetrack. 13 laps to go. Make it 12 as Blocker comes across the line. Well, right back into traffic.
Oh, hello.
And the 25 of Kingsbury on the button, maybe? Yes, he is. Here he comes. Oh, he's trying to make it stick to the inside. Ante leaves him space. Now the drag race to turn 4.
Yeah, he really forced the Ante. He was ready to cut him off. Kingsbury said nope, and will finally work his way on by.
He got him fair and square that time. Marshall Stanley right behind, fresh out of the pits on a sticker set of alternates. And David Adams on and off the pit lane. Their set of alternates on his car, his second stop of the night. Closest battle on the racetrack still, the 25, 86, and 55. I think Stanley might be a hair quicker than Ante here.
Yeah, it just came out on fresh red tires, so I have to put them to good use here.
Marshall Stanley started this race back in 16th. He's gained 6 spots up to 10th. I think he'd be pretty happy with a day like today. And let's just look at some of the names that are up here. Flynn Lazier in the 4 car. We have not talked about him at all. He runs 7th. Adam Crane has recovered nicely, but David Adams really needed some momentum, and here he is running in 5th. This is a good, really good run for this 00. And I had mentioned that this team in general had really struggled in 2021, and they just need some momentum, and this is a good way to get it.
Yeah, I even remember back when I last covered the series, they had quite a few races where they struggled as a team. So I see them, as you mentioned, I see them getting looking at getting a nice top 5 if Adams can hold on.
Carlos Gomez hits pit lane. Just fuel and tires by the looks of it. But spending a peculiarly long time just getting some wing repair on top of that as well.
Yeah, had to fix the front and rear wing.
Ray Kingsbury hasn't really been able to drive away from Charles Ante just yet. They still remain only a couple tenths of a second apart. Next time by will be coming to 10 laps to go, and Blocker again has had plenty of time to save fuel and is really in no danger of getting run down. He's definitely taking his time. His last lap was a full second off of his best. He's just pacing himself right now.
Yeah, pretty much. There's no reason to push at all. Just work through traffic as they come. Just kind of find your way on by, because again, everyone still has to pit in behind. Namely, Ike and Bennett have yet to make their second stops for the race.
Yeah, I don't know if yeah, Ike and Bennett can definitely not make it. They are too far in. They're definitely on a 2-stop strategy. And so this will shuffle the field around once again when they come hit pit lane for the second time. Everybody from Brian Carey on down, with the exception of Charles Ante, should be able to make it from here. They add A.J. Burton to the list of those that need to make a stop. Burton, another driver we haven't mentioned a whole lot. Started this race a little bit deeper in the field, runs 12th now, but he started back in 20th. Well, to recap, there is a long list of drivers on the timing and scoring on the left-hand side of your screen. Everybody from Matt Pavelski in 17th on down is completely crashed and out and done for the day. Trevor Greenfield is also out and about to be eclipsed by Carlos Gomez, who is right here and still rolling. We started the night with 33 and now have 7 on the lead lap and 12 within 1 lap of the race leader, but it has just been an attrition-filled night. We knew that, we expected that, but I just don't know. I would have expected, hey, maybe 20 cars would finish, but 15 or 14, that's a really low number.
Yeah, it is. Detroit has claimed quite a few cars. you just have to look through there. You can see a lot of limited left, but you can see a lot of destroyed race cars down there.
In the automotive world, I guess Detroit giveth and Detroit taketh away.
Having fun this year, coming to a stop on track. Not sure what happened to him.
Yeah, he might have caught the wall at the exit of turn 2, perhaps. Oh, blew the motor. He had definitely some underbelly damage, and motor expired on that. So Lazier, while he was having a solid top 10 run, will become the 577th victim of Detroit Belle Isle today. And this battle is getting really spicy. Riley Thompson at 11th, chasing Stanley 10th, and Charles Ante 9th.
Yeah, these guys are all actually going to move up one spot once they get past Lazier. They still have to pass, so Thompson will be back inside the top 10, whether he gets around these guys or not. Definitely think he's looking like he might get past here as he's trying to put the pressure on.
Ante, a bit of a lockup into turn 11. We'll see if Burton or Stanley gets on the button to get by Ante, and here they come to pit lane. Ante will come on down and get some service. This will be his second stop of the day. As Thompson sets his sights on the 55 just up the road.
And for Thompson, he is good till the end. He doesn't have to make any more stops. Any position he's going to gain is 4 positions. You got Stanley and Kingsbury just up the road.
He might be able to catch Stanley. I think he's a little quicker than the 55 at the moment. And we already mentioned Marshall starting back in 20th and just having a good solid day. We also got to give it out for Tanner Watkins. His best lap is 7 seconds slower than the race leader's best lap, but he does not have a scratch on that car, and he's running in 14th.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to why he's running this slow.
Because
he's not a slow driver.
He's made it because he knew, I think he knew that the only way to really successfully come out of this event without a whole lot of luck is just to drive slow and just make it to the end. He's picked up an innumerable amount of spots just by not crashing, and it's working. To his credit, A.J. Burton, is he out and done? Looks like it. Another one added to the list.
Another one bites the dust.
He's been out for a little while, it seems like. Back about a lap or two ago, spun into turn 7.
Oh, yeah, that was a nasty one. And another one gone, and another one gone.
Oh man. And let me just preface this with the Indy Elite Series is not a group of rookie drivers. These are the best IndyCar oval racers in iRacing, and they are absolutely struggling with the situation here today. This is a hard combination, and it has shown that. As Andreas Ike picks up his second and final service, he will roll back on the racetrack. And here comes Brian Carey. This will be a battle for second. Carey having a really solid run.
They're going to have a little bit of a run here, not too much to work with. Going to have to settle in behind him. And you were talking about Tanner Watkins with him. He still had to pass Burton and Lazier, so he actually be up into 12th place.
That's again. It seems silly that you could run 7 seconds slower. Whoa!
That's a tire.
Yep, it's back. The good thing they have tethers in real life. That would have been rolling off into the park and run over a puppy or something. Here comes Carey down the inside of Ike for second, and will go through. Did he overdrive it? Almost. Holy cow.
Wow, that looks like a mirror image of a lot of guys ending their night into that tire error.
That's for sure. Let's go back and have a look from Andreas Ike's point of view. Oh, man, that is a scary moment, I'm sure, for Ike, because if that lead car hits the fence, you're pretty much going to follow him straight into it.
Yeah, and also I think he's concerned too, the car rebounding back into it. Wow, he's coming in really hot in behind. I think, not sure if he's on the button, but going to try to make a move here into turn 1. He's going to throw it inside. He will.
Oh, that's a dicey place to make a pass. He's done it. But Ike can get right back on the button and get back by him. Will he use it? Yes, he will. Carries in pretty deep into turn 3, but gets it woed down. Holds on to second. Meanwhile, behind them, Ray Kingsbury, Stanley, and Thompson, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Marshall Stanley pulling over. He is, or not Marshall Stanley, excuse me. That's Tanner Watkins. Still has to pass Burton and Lazier. He'll move himself up into 12th spot. 5 laps to go, make it 4 this time by. Stanley keeping the pressure. Whoop, car out of the pits. That's Adam Crane right in front of Kingsbury. Battle for 6th speed. 4-car fight now.
Yeah, Crane's got decently away from the rest of them. They're all trying to chase him down. Stanley looking like he was attempting to make a pass on Kingsbury. Can't quite get it done. Got 4 cars for 1 spot. A few laps to go. I mean, I sense some more cars being wrecked up in the future.
Adam Crane is on the primary tire, and everybody behind him is on the alternate, so that is going to be a holdup potentially for that 34. But he's trying to run away now while he's got the chance. And into turn 7. So tight through this section of the racetrack around the fountain area.
Yeah, this is exclusively single file. You got to be very confident.
You know what's funny is we've only seen 1 or 2 crashes in this particular area. A lot of the crashes have coming into faster corners where you have to slow down a lot. But that one particular section where the racetrack is the narrowest, we've only seen 1 car crash there. I keep hearing them scrape the sidewall of the tire on the exit of the final corner. They are flirting with death every time they come through that. Henry Bennett and David Adams, this is for 4th. That 00 car is having a fantastic day. Oh man, he almost got in too deep on Bennett.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully he doesn't change that. This is tough, finding that balance of going for it and then putting yourself on the wall. It's been a very fine line for a majority of the drivers tonight.
Yeah, it's been clear. Kingsbury, Stanley, Thompson. I think Kingsbury is a bit of the cork in the bottle right now, as Crane is beginning to drive away just a touch. Got a feel for Riley Thompson. Had such a good night going. Started this race as the pole sitter. He led the opening 15 laps before catching the wall at the exit of turn 12. And has since been relegated to the bottom half of the top 10.
Yeah, that being said, it's also been a very good recovery for him. Kind of impressed he's as high as he is.
Here's for 4th. David Adams up the inside of Bennett into turn 3. A little bit claustrophobic on exit. They're going to drag race to turn 4, but I think Adams will be able to complete this pass.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. He's been leaving a little bit too much space for Bennett. Bennett finally going to peel him behind.
Move Adams up into 4th. Good run for the 00. Kingsbury and Marshall Stanley across the line. Still 7th place. Oh man, I think Kingsbury might have caught the wall. We'll slow him up and bring Stanley back into the mix. He's going to go driver's left.
I'm amazed that Marshall Stanley, he has not used a single push to pass all race.
Whoa. Whoa. Thompson got in there a little bit hot.
Yeah, but Stanley still has all 10 of his uses, which I'm a bit surprised by, because if he used the button, it would help him blow on past.
It's only 3 laps to go. Will be 2 next time by. Adam Blocker has been dominating this one ever since Riley Thompson's mistake. He has led now 23 of the 41 laps that we've completed. And he has a 38-second lead. And he's running still pretty decent times, but Brian Carey's faster right now. Just too far back to do anything with it.
These 3 now is where you may want to get a little nervous.
2 laps to go. Just about under 5 miles of racing. And everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. Only 5 drivers left on the lead lap. A night full of attrition and carnage. Getting back to the stripe is the only thing that these guys are focused on right now. But I think Stanley would also like to add 7th place to his list of accomplishments tonight. Kingsbury's in a little hot. Gonna overdrive. Here comes Stanley.
Impressive overtake again, considering he's not been using push to pass. Not sure why, if he just doesn't have the button mapped. What's the issue there? And actually, Thompson going to try to throw it up the inside of Kingsbury. Now going to meet to the outside on the next corner and onto the straightaway. Going to try to do an over-under.
Yeah, on the button. Here he comes. Driver's left. Kingsbury goes defensive. The long way around for Thompson. Can't make that stick. Kingsbury spins, slides. Gathers it back up, but Thompson's through. Oh no, right in front of him. Stanley's around.
I was just going to say has 2 push passes to catch up to Stanley, but Stanley, big mistake for him.
Yeah, right here. He's going to get off into turn 8 here and just throttles up a little bit too soon.
Yeah, the track dips a little bit there, close to the wall, and if you're not careful, Can easily hook you.
But Riley Thompson up to 7th in the closing moments of this one. White flag for Adam Blocker. He's down into turn number 3. No challenge from behind. And looking at the season so far, Adam Blocker has not yet gone to victory lane. In the 3 starts he's had, he's finished in the top 10 all 3 times. But it's going to be a major shakeup in the points. And leaving tonight, I would expect Andreas Eick to be the commanding points leader, with the Philip Kraus car, who came in leading the points after a 5-position gain at Pocono, down in 20th spot, crashed out, and 26 laps down. So through the final couple corners, it has been a treacherous day in Belle Isle, in a city that is known for building cars, especially Chevrolets. Today it has destroyed about as many as it makes in a year. As we come on through, checkered flag for Adam Blocker. Belle Isle and the streets of Detroit are conquered by Adam Blocker.
And he was actually sputtering when he came towards the line. That's how close he was on fuel.
One-stop strategy paid off for the 74. Here's Brian Carey. Started this race back in 13th spot and just delicately carved his way through the field. He's on a 2-stop strategy, focused around the center of the race. And it is a long way back for a second-place car, but this is going to be a really, really strong run for this 79. Yeah, Brian Carey comes into the night 15th in the standings. His other best finish of the season was back at Texas. That was a 3rd, but a 25th at Barber on the road course. He will redeem himself with a 2nd at Belle Isle. Andreas Eick, 3rd. He will be the new points leader leaving tonight. David Adams, 4th, and Henry Bennett, 5th. And those are the last drivers on the lead lap. What a race. That was attrition-filled, as we expected, Finian, but maybe more than we even thought.
No, that was a lot more than I thought. I thought, maybe we'd be down to like 25, 20 cars, but we only finished that race with, I think, about 13, 12 drivers across the line. So that was quite a bit of attrition.
Certainly was. Looking at the rest of the order here, Brian Carey 2nd, but Andreas Eick quietly runs 3rd. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised at his competitiveness and pace, but he is certainly impressing me this season. Again, he picks up, I believe that's his 4th third-place finish in 6 races.
Might have to change his number 2 to number 3.
Maybe, I guess at that rate. David Adams, best finish of the season for him. Henry Bennett rebounds from a rough start to the season with a 5th tonight. Adam Crane, penalty puts him down to 6th. Thompson and pole sitter ends up 7th. Kingsbury, Stanley, Charles, Ante, the rest of the top 10. Points leader coming into the night, Philip Kraus finishes 20th. He'll have a lot of rebounding to do next week at Chicago.
And how about Tanner Watkins finishing in 12th place after just butting the car around quite literally his fastest lap tonight with a 121.8. Everyone else in the 114s and 115s for comparison.
Started the night with 33, and only 13 of them, I believe, actually finished the race, which is pretty phenomenal in the wrong sort of direction. But a wild night, that's for sure. And we'll talk with your race winner and a couple others here in just a moment, as soon as we can get a hold of them. But Blocker wins, led the majority of this race, but debrief on Belle Isle. Finian, wow. I don't think this is going to be a very popular choice on the schedule again if it ever shows up. We knew Belle Isle is hard. It is hard in the real world, but this gives you a massive amount of respect for those that can actually drive on this place and keep the cars in one piece. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a very tough track, and again, tonight just definitely showing it. These guys normally really good at the road courses, and you don't see too much attrition, but here just the tight quarters pushing these cars to the limit, but a lot of these drivers ended up stepping over that limit tonight.
So waiting on Blocker and others to join us, Brian Carey had a heck of a night, drove all the way through the field to finish in 2nd. Brian, congratulations. Take us through your drive forward and navigating the carnage that was Belle Isle here this evening.
I think, first of all, honestly, I have no idea. I was head down. I was at the back. I had to go off strategies. It was a quick stint on blacks, got rid of them, and I didn't really care who I was passing. I didn't know if they're lap cars or racing cars. I was just going forward, and I'm happy I was able to keep it off the wall, that's for sure.
Well, looking at the road courses this season, this is probably by far the most challenging of them to negotiate. Does this give you confidence as we head towards our next road race at Road America later this year. Do you feel like you've learned something tonight that you can apply to Road America?
Not crashing, actually. I mean, you've seen my first. I mean, I've not made it very far in most of my races. Obviously had the issue in Pocono there where I got taken a little bit further into the race, but Road America, I don't know if it really helps me or not, because this is just such a different track. It's basically like a home track. It's a couple hundred kilometers down the road, but closest track to me. So yeah, no lessons really for Road America other than the only way you can finish well is not to explode, basically. So mission accomplished there.
I'd say mission accomplished. Second place for the 79 Brian Carey. Congratulations, a strong drive tonight. Best of luck to you at Chicagoland next week.
Thanks, Kyle.
Move on now to race winner Adam Blocker, who got it done today on a one-stop strategy. Not an unheard of feat for sure, but what was unheard of tonight, at least for most of the field, was making it through without running into anything. Adam, it was a really attrition-filled race. I'm sure you saw we started with 33, ended up with 13 at the end of the night. How'd you keep it on course at the pace you did and save all that fuel you needed to?
Well, honestly, I think saving the fuel kind of helped, but yeah, I kind of practiced both strategies, saving fuel and pushing, and actually I think pushing was the faster strategy, but I messed up qualifying, and it's really difficult to overtake here. And once I saw that Riley and Adam were in front of me, I was like, you know, I was confident in my pace and in our car, so I just decided to save fuel from the beginning, and I knew the first stint the number was pretty easy to hit, and I was, you know, able to keep up with them the whole time. And then yeah, I got lucky. Well, it made it easier that Riley hit the wall, and then Crane missed pit in, which I'm glad I didn't run him over when he did that. But yeah, then from there it was pretty easy. And honestly, the fact that I was having to save fuel, just, you know, and had a big gap, made it really easy. I wasn't pushing that hard at all. So.
Well, a really strong night for you, Adam. This will set you in the right direction to the points, surely. Best of luck to you next week. We're headed back to the Oval in Chicagoland. We'll see you there.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for calling the race. Definitely want to thank my teammates for working on the setup, especially Brian Henry and John Vogel. The setup was really good. For tonight, we didn't have the short run pace. We definitely had the long run pace. And yeah, just definitely a shout out to Brian that was a great drive coming from the back to second. And yeah, see you guys at Chicagoland.
We'll see you at Chicago, Adam. Winner for the first time this season. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
All right, Finian, debriefing here from Belle Isle. A messy one tonight, that's for sure. But at the end of the night, Adam Blocker, no stranger to victory lane, but this season, this is his first. So is that setting him in the right direction for the rest of the year?
I would like to think so. I mean, getting that first one, it's amazing to hear that for him that this is his first one of the season. But I mean, this seriously stepped up in the amount of drivers and how competitive those drivers are. Is a lot of competition up near the front of the field, but nice to see him back in victory lane, just having a solid drive, just of consistency and some decent pace to boot, just not putting in the wall. Came home with the victory.
We'll see you again in a week for Chicagoland Speedway, a home race for us, or for me at least, now living in Chicago. We'll see you next week, 7:15 Eastern. Thanks again to Coca-Cola of Kokomo for helping us out with the series. We'll see you next week for a 225-mile event in Chicago.